Hey everybody, meteorologist Brad Panovich here for SkiSoutheast.com. Excited for another ski season here in the Southeast, and what a great week it has been since Thanksgiving. The pattern has flipped, and boy, have we got some cold. So first things first, let's talk about the setup this weekend and the chance for more snow for many areas of the Southeast. You're probably watching me thinking, oh man, we're already getting ready for this little system coming in. What's happening is we've got high pressure over the Ohio Valley and the Northeast. This is providing cold air. And I'm going to talk more about this cold air up in this region real briefly here. I want to focus something on a map you probably don't see very often, but the map you're looking at right here is the daily snowfall departure map. So one of the interesting things about early in this season, see all this blue? This is where snowfall is above average for this time of the year. That's a lot of snow on the ground for this early in the season and in a favorable spot. It's not over the Southeast, and you're probably saying, Brad, but we want it over the Southeast. Yes and no. Early in the season, this is where you want the first snowpack to build up because this allows the cold air masses coming out of Canada and the Arctic to move over refrigerated ground, which means the air mass does not modify. It stays cold. So this ends up supplying cold air for us. Remember, most of our cold air or Arctic air comes from the Arctic and northern Canada. Now, as it comes down, it's slowly going to warm up. But if it travels over cold ground, that keeps the air colder. So this is why we're having such favorable setups early in the season. Though this setup this weekend, and it's really Friday, you could see the system approaching, is kind of not a real strong system, and it could have a little ice. What's interesting is some of the mountains in North Carolina, especially Cataloochee South, these areas could actually end up seeing a little bit of rain or freezing rain. Further north, it looks like solid snow. So from Beach, Sugar, Hatley Point's kind of on the border, and then heading up towards Winter Place and Snowshoe and up towards Timberline, all the way up, maybe to Wisp. Wisp might miss out on this, but you could see this is early Friday morning. That's mostly snow. And again, the model struggles with where the rain snow line is, but just know all of this stuff on the north side, this is solidly snow. Virginia looks to be the winner here as far as snowfall with this one near the North Carolina border. Now that moves through quickly. That's the only downside to this storm. It's a fast mover, so it doesn't provide enough time to provide a bunch of snow, but the front stalls here. And when you get a front stall to your south, the cold air to the north, you always watch for waves of low pressure to form. And right now, I don't see one this weekend, but maybe early next week again. There's some hints of this going into Monday that a wave forms. You kind of see a buckle in the stalled front and a little northern piece of energy coming in. And by the way, that's some really cold air on the backside there. So this is an interesting setup on Monday. I know all the talk right now is about Friday, but Monday's another system to watch. Now this shows all rain. Trust me, this is snow. This is the guidance struggling with the precipitation amounts. But this could be a good burst of snow for our West Virginia, Maryland resorts. And I think for the North Carolina resorts, this is going to be a quick shot of at least a minimum of northwest flow snow that could be enhanced by some lake enhancement. What I mean by lake enhancement, look at that. The cold air behind that front is going to pick up some moisture from the Great Lakes and move down in this area. So this could be a really interesting setup for a pretty stout northwest flow event behind the front on Monday into Tuesday. So even if that low pressure system on the coast doesn't crank up enough to throw snow back into the Southeast resorts, behind it, the front itself will help produce enough cold air that we're going to get northwest flow. And then really cold air early next week will be great for snowmaking. And let's talk about snowmaking here momentarily, because the temperature profiles are really, really favorable for more cold air. You see the long range outlook. This is the 6 to 10 day outlook. Whoops, kind of zoomed in there. Kind of shows you the 6 to 10 day outlook. Below average temperatures in the east and the northeast, including us here in the southeast. We go 8 to 14 days. This is a nice pattern. The ridge is out west. So if you're going skiing out west, which I am by the after the holiday, Christmas, not great out there right now. The east is kind of winning here over the next couple of weeks. So the cold air is in place. In that same vein, if we look at the low temperatures, I often focus on the low temperatures, and you're probably saying why? Because the low temperatures are really going to tell me if we have snowmaking opportunities at night. It's great when they're happening during the day, but you ask any resort, if they get a good 8 to 10 hours, 12 hours of overnight snowmaking, it really is favorable for resorts to keep going. So these are the overnight lows. Friday, Saturday, you can see kind of marginal except for West Virginia. Then we go into Sunday, it cools back down. So starting Sunday morning, Monday morning, Tuesday morning, holy moly, teens and single digits. That's why I said early next week, regardless of the natural snow, the snowmaking opportunities early next week are going to be optimal, even after the marginal this weekend. Part of the problem is this weekend, we won't melt a bunch of the base, but it'll be hard to make snow because the dew points will be kind of high, the temperatures will be marginal. So we got to kind of rely on Mother Nature. But probably starting Sunday into early next week, you got some really good overnight temperatures. And it probably persists through the middle of the week until the next surge of cold air comes down next weekend. That's just a really big sneak peek. Speaking of the natural snow, how much are we talking about? I love looking at the blend of models, so that's what you're looking at, full transparency. I don't like focusing on one piece of data. If we focus at the blend of models, which is the new version running experimentally, I'll go out through early next week just to give you an idea. I'll stop this on Wednesday. And you can see across the southeast, that's a general mountain snow of around 2 to 6 inches. If we go into next weekend, little sneak peek, you could see the next system, and this is going into next Saturday. So the next 7 days looking really, really good here in the southeast. So get excited. Early starts to the season are great for many reasons. One, it gets people excited, but more importantly, it lays the base that can get us through what is always going to happen, one of those warm spells, a brief week of a southeast ridge. You get the snow on the ground early, especially the man-made stuff. It can get us through those warm spells. Have a great week. Enjoy the skiing. And as always, everybody, think snow.